Hello, Ottawans and Ottawans from around the globe. This mechanic is one that you'll need to know to beat humankind on any difficulty, and the implications are huge on your gameplay. So without further ado, let's get into trade and the Wondrous effect. So let's start by talking about luxury resources, what you're going to be trading for. You need to understand the basics of this before we can build on it. They come in 4 different types, one surrounded by food in the form of salt, sage, coffee, tea, and saffron, one about money in the form of incense, porcelain, pearls, gold, and gemstone, some in the form of industry, namely dye, ebony, marble, obsidian, silk, and finally some in the form of science, showing ambergris, papyrus, lead, mercury, and silver. So I'm going to give you some examples here so you understand exactly how they work. Early game, it's super important to have high stability. This affects how much influence you get, and we've talked about that in other videos, and I'm sure you know, but you have to have a stability above 90%. Now, if you're struggling and slapping down too many districts, putting down any luxury resource extractor is bound to help. Take a look at my city here. I'm going to go ahead and slap down this incense artisan's quarters. What that's going to do is give me +4 stability in each of my cities. I've got a stability of 150 in my capital, and a stability of 80 in my secondary city over here. So I'm going to go ahead and push this out in one turn, and you'll see that the stability changed in both my cities. In my capital, you can see it's now 154 totaled. And in my secondary city, we have 84. Now, this might not seem like a lot right now, but it's going to start to stack. Just watch. So take a look at the tooltip here for incense. You can see that I get +5 gold and +4 stability because I have 1 incense, and that's on each of my cities. Well, if I go ahead and slap down another, you're going to see it's going to double. If we take a look at my capital, I have land raisers on, but you'll see I'm getting +5 from the luxury. Similarly, I get +5 in my secondary city. This is huge, especially in the secondary city. You can see that before I had this luxury resource, I was making 3 gold. With the luxury, I'm making 8. That's almost triple. This can really propel some of your cities you're struggling to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and slap down another incense, and you're going to see it's going to go from +5 and +4 to +10 and +8. Now we're the next turn, and exactly what I said would happen, happened. We get +10 money and +8 stability in each of our cities from our incense refineries alone. This is even reflected in the cities. So next I want to talk about the Wondrous effect from the Hanging Gardens. So let's head back onto this tooltip here and take a look specifically at this section called Wondrous Effects. Now you'll see on all cities, it says if we get the Wondrous effect, we get +10% money and +20% stability. You're also going to note here that the +10% will increase every time we get more and more incense on our plate. So right now, I only have 2 deposits of incense. If I got a 3rd deposit, it would go up to +15% money and +25 stability. You'll also notice that in order to get the Wondrous effect, you need a couple things. You need 4 of 8 deposits. So there's 8 deposits in the whole world, and we need 4 of them. That's 50% of the world's deposits you need to be able to enact this Wondrous effect. Subsequently, it says we also need the patronage technology. Now, the patronage technology is way down here in the early modern texts. This gives us luxury manufactories, which is great. They give us a little bit of fame and some extra money. But how are we going to get this without that tech? Well, the Hanging Gardens are a perfect example of this. So many people say the wonders aren't up to snuff in this game, and the Hanging Gardens are far and away possibly the best wonder in the early game. Take a look here. We actually got super lucky and have 5 instances of incense in our first 3 territories. So a couple turns have passed, and I've saved up my influence. And what am I going to get but the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? Take a look what it says here. It'll give you +20 stability, +100 fame for building it, and It extracts luxury resources from the deposits it's built on. This is absolutely perfect for our scenario. So I'm gonna go ahead and claim this. It's a no-brainer. So it's a few turns later, and I'm gonna slap it down on my last remaining incense. So I've done this kind of strategically. I've built my artisan's quarters on 4 of the 5 incense that I currently have, and I'm going to place the Hanging Gardens of Babylon directly on the 5th one. If I didn't do that, I'd have to crush one of my current tiles, which is fine, but it's just not efficient. So next turn, we're finishing the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. I got rid of all my other luxury resources just to make the numbers easy when we take a look here together. So because I currently have 4 incense, all cities are benefiting from plus 20 money, plus 16 stability, and when the Hanging Gardens of Babylon finish, it'll be plus 25 money and plus 20 stability. Same thing will happen to the Wondrous effect. Right now it says plus 20% and plus 40 stability, but you'll see it'll actually go up to plus 25% and plus 50 stability on all of my cities. That's absolutely massive. So let's just take a note of where the money's at for my city currently. We're currently at plus 29. Similarly, this is what our stability looks like. So we've completed the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. You'll notice the tooltip here changed to plus 25 money, plus 20 stability, plus 25% money, and plus 50 stability. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual yields on this city. If we start with the stability, you see we get plus 50 from a luxury manufactory. We also get plus 20 stability from the luxury resources themselves. Finally, we get plus 20 stability from the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. That's awesome. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our money. So we had 29. We gotta add 1 because we built the Hanging Gardens on a tile that exploited 1 gold. Exploiting 1 more incense gives us plus 5, remember that. So that leaves us at 35. Then we gotta multiply that by the Wondrous effect, which is 25%. This leaves us with 43.5 rounded up to 44. Think about that for a second. That's a whole 50% increase. That's nuts.
What is that actually happened?
Of course it happened. I think this is a reflection of how just.
Oh my god.
Thanks, Elon. Next up, let's talk about luxury manufactories. On the same kind of vein, luxury manufactories work the exact same way. So now we're a few turns down the line. We're in a new era and we've just finished patronage. So remember from our previous discussions, we said we need 50% of the world's deposit. So for saffron, we can go ahead and actually pick up the luxury manufactory for this. One of the key things about luxury manufactories that you need to understand is it can only be built once in the world. So if you're the first one to be able to exploit it, that's a game changer. Let's just take an aside here. If I wanted to actually place down a tea luxury manufactory, I don't have enough of the world's resources. I only have 1. But the beautiful thing about this though, is I can trade and gain access to those resources. It's incredibly simple to do, and the payoffs are huge. If I come back now, if I really wanted to, I could place down this tea manufacturing. I'm gonna head back over to saffron now. I'm gonna go ahead and slap down my saffron manufacturing. So you'll see, this is supposed to give us plus 15% food on all our cities and plus 30 stability. Now, if we look at our stability, we have a total of 364. And if we look at our food, we have a total of 303. So I'm expecting we're going to increase it by 15% and we'll come around with about 348. So let's go ahead and purchase this. Boom. And let's check out our food. It went up, but to 331.
Bruh.
The stability looks good, but the food, that's like way less. In the hours preceding what you just saw, hundreds of tests were run to figure out why the heck that didn't work. On the absolute brink of insanity, Welshman conducted one final test, which ultimately found the answer. Alright, I'm blowing everything up. You want food quarters? Let's blow it up. Luxuries? No luxuries. Saffron will be your god. The Angkor what? I think the Angkor not. Get rid of this incense. Oh, the Dutch will be upset. Ooh, scary. Ransack, 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 ransack. Ransack, 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 ransack. No man is bigger than me. You all shall disband. Oh, I need to keep my precious, precious territory with all the saffron. And let's get rid of these filthy, filthy scum in all these cities. Liberate them. Everything must go. Oh, you're all farmers? How about toiling in the maker's quarters? I've completely turned my entire empire on its head. I only have one city. I've liberated the rest. I've gotten rid of literally every artisan's quarters I have except for saffron. I've raised every farm. And this will be the final test. I'm gonna go ahead and slap down the saffron manufactory. Let's take a look at the food before and the food after. Now this has to work. It has to be exactly 15%. So before, we have a total of 101 food. Press purchase here, and 115 food. You have to be bloody kidding me.
You're sweating. Relax. Take a deep breath.
I ran about 400 tests, and I asked on Reddit, and I kept running tests, and I finally figured it out. Basically, I think the food wondrous effects are completely broken. Yes, you still get a benefit from them, but it's definitely 1000% a bug. I've detailed it all in a Reddit post, and I'll link to it in the description. I urge you to check it out, but I'm sure it's something that the devs will look into. It's been logged, so hopefully they fix it. Just to prove to you that the wondrous effect is awesome, I tested with all the other ones anyways, so here's a recording from one of my tests. While I got you though, if you like the content you're seeing, you find it informative and entertaining, I would love a like or a subscription. I'm still a super small channel, so every little bit really goes a long way. Okay, so let's go ahead and try obsidian now. So obsidian has 2% industry on all cities, but the wondrous effect actually grants a +5 industry on all cities. That's absolutely bonkers. And if we can get more obsidian, that'll help us incredibly. So see here that our industry is currently at 124. Let's go ahead and slap down the obsidian manufactory. Now, if I check it out the next turn, we have 130. That makes perfect sense, right? Because we had 124 times 1.05, which will give us 130. Now, let's say we trade for more obsidian. Well, our production in all our cities is going to go up by 5%. Say we keep investing in the city, we build more infrastructure, more makers' quarters and things like that, and our industry is up. Our base isn't 124 anymore. Say we get it to 200. Well, 5% of 200 is much bigger than 5% of 124. So this is actually massive in the long term. That's it. That's been my guide on the wondrous effect. You can see that these tips and tricks, when used situationally, can propel your game to the next level. Now I need your help. What do you want to see next? Do you want to see some gameplay? Is there a mechanic you don't understand? Feel free to comment down below, and my next video could be about your topic. I reply to all of my comments, so for more lighthearted content that could improve your gameplay in the future, feel free to go ahead and hit subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. It helps me out tremendously because I'm such a small channel. And hey, if you got nothing to do, I've got some great news for you. I found these videos which I've placed on screen that I know you're gonna love.